You know you need fiber for a healthy gut, but do you actually know how to get it? Quaker's been serving up fiber since 1877, with over 100 great-tasting, good source of fiber options to choose from. Whether you like old-fashioned oats, instant oatmeal, granola, or oatmeal squares, Quaker makes it delicious. So good. Get your fiber with Quaker. Shop Quaker's good source of fiber products at a store near you.
Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
I'm willing to bet that you get tired every now and then. We all do. But if you have something more extreme than that, and we're talking really intense fatigue, then this session may be of benefit. It's Adam here, and in this particular session, I was working with a client that had post-COVID fatigue, and it's a very, very extreme form of fatigue that can affect energy levels, clarity, neurological decision-making, lots of things. In many ways, it kind of echoes autoimmune issues like ME and fibromyalgia and things like that. But it is linked specifically to the aftermath of COVID. Now, this particular client had made a lot of progress. They'd made lots of progress in different areas. They felt like they had understood things better, found their limits in certain areas, and were making progress. And they actually built a team of people. They were working with me, but also working with other professionals to really help with their progress. And what this hypnosis session does is take storytelling and weaves it into a way of using metaphors so that they feel that they're on the right road, that they can deal with difficult things if it comes up. And it's actually a fusion of fairytale language, but also using almost the universe of the Lion King. If you think of the kingdom of in Lion King, it's that backdrop that we use here rather than traditional fairy tale castles and things like that. But it still has fairy tale language. There is a metaphor here of quicksand, and that's really important because for them, when they would crash, it really felt like the more they tried to recover, the more fatigued they felt. So quicksand was a really good metaphor for this particular client. And also the strategy to escape from quicksand is not by struggling more, it's by struggling less and shifting your balance. So that's a very good metaphor for this particular client. It has this idea of a healing circle of helpers and also using timeline of connecting with the resources of a future version of themselves that has already escaped this horrible fatigue syndrome that they were dealing with. There's lots going on here. And although the original client had a specific type of fatigue, I think the crux of this session would be beneficial with anyone that has fatigue as one of their symptoms from any kind of condition. And that might be fatigue through lack of sleep. That might be fatigue that is linked to some kind of autoimmune issue, but there might be something here that you can connect with. But just be aware that it was created specifically for an individual, and some of the references might not equate to you because you're a different person than the client I was working with. So hone into anything useful, disregard anything that isn't useful. And if you like the idea of having a one-to-one session with me rather than just listening to recordings, check out the description. There's lots of free downloads, a free course on there, but also the ability to schedule a free consultation call. So if that's of interest, check that out. It's also available on my website, which is adamcox.co.uk. So if it's difficult to even find the more information, you can just go on a browser, type in adamcox.co.uk, and then you can check out resources there, but also book a free consultation call. That said, you might find this session very useful. So find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be distracted or disturbed. Relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in a feeling of pure calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, feel that wonderful feeling of release, as if any tension, stress, fatigue or worry is gradually and incrementally leaving your body in that outward breath. And as you breathe in and breathe out, maybe you'll notice how slowly or how quickly your whole body starts to just relax now. And there may be clues just how slow and deep your breathing is. Tension feeling like it's melting away. Eyelids feeling heavier. Arms and legs feeling looser or relaxed. That's it. And maybe you've already noticed a subtle change. Something that's not normally that way, but feels different as your body gives you permission to just let go. And the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you feel. And the more relaxed you feel, the deeper you breathe. That's it. And the more your body relaxes, the more your imagination awakens. And what if your imagination is a portal to create new neural pathways that lead to wonderful changes? So as you breathe in and breathe out, feel your whole body relaxing. Not because relaxation is necessary, but if you are going to go on that journey in your imagination, why not do it in such a way where, while your body relaxes, your resources recharge? That's it, drifting deeper and deeper now. And I want you to imagine what it would feel like to be a child hearing a story. Perhaps a story about wisdom, a story about change, a story about how strength can learn through patience. So as you breathe in and breathe out, imagine hearing a voice that begins a story, perhaps with the phrase, "Once upon a time, far, far away." And I want you to imagine what it would feel like for that story to talk about warm winds moving across long grasses. As your imagination starts to imagine an ancient African kingdom, And there's something powerful about the savannah. Notice how wide the horizons are. So imagine that golden savannah stretching as far as the eyes can see. Those acacia trees scattered like guardians. And I want you to imagine a great rock rising in the distance. And that rock overlooks plains filled with life. And sometimes when you hear a story, your imagination makes you a character or an observer in the story. So imagine feeling that the air is warm, not heavy, but somehow relaxing. And I want you to imagine, here in this story, you are not a princess in a tower. You are a guardian of this land. A wise traveler, perhaps, or a future leader. Strong in obvious ways, and deeply capable still. But something has changed in this story. In this kingdom, a strange spell has fallen upon you. Not a visible curse, not chains, but a spell of fatigue, uncertainty, invisible limits. And the elders of that kingdom whisper that this spell is unusual. A paradox, that the more you struggle against it, the heavier it feels. And I want you to imagine somewhere in the kingdom is a bog of quicksand. Impossible to see unless you're already in it. And I want you to imagine seeing someone from your kingdom stuck in that quicksand. And at first, they try to fight it. It feels obvious, intuitive, the right thing to do. To push through, to prove strength. But as you observe, each forceful movement pulls them deeper. And I want you to imagine what it would feel like to feel that you are in that quicksand. Imagine as you feel it that the more you thrash, move, struggle, the deeper you sink. But you are wise, connected to the universal intelligence of your kingdom. You remember something you heard long ago, that the animals of the savannah survive not through panic, but through instinct and stillness. So instead of fighting, imagine that you widen your arms, slow your breathing, distribute your weight, You lean forward and suddenly the sinking slows, because quicksand responds to struggle, but it stabilizes with balance. And I want you to imagine you are not alone there in the quicksand. Imagine a team of healers surrounding the quicksand. And as you steady yourself, distribute that weight. I want you to get a sense that you have collective wisdom and resources to help escape the quicksand. Maybe you imagine the faces of 4 or more helpers, healers, resources. These are not warriors, and they're not magicians with wands, but they are wise allies. Perhaps you could imagine one bringing trance, altered states, unlocking the power of your imagination. And perhaps one of them brings deep conversation and reflection. And maybe one brings sacred medicine administered with care. And another has magic in their hands that restore the body through touch. And imagine they form a circle around you. They are on solid ground, you still in the quicksand, not sinking anymore, but still presently stuck. And this circle around you is not to rescue you, but to give you the support to escape the quicksand yourself. Each one of them working with yourself starts to lift the spell, not in one dramatic moment, but gradually, inch by inch. And I want you to imagine what it would feel to use the wisdom and the help from this circle around you, to feel that you can lean forward, work your legs up, and then slowly and steadily crawl forward. You may have noticed how a small insect can walk on the surface of a pond. Their weight is distributed, but a pebble plops straight through. As you distribute your weight, you become a starfish on top of the quicksand, and you slowly, gradually make your way to the edge. And I want you to get a sense of what it feels like to be leaving the quicksand with a newfound sense of perspective. As you walk to that large rock that oversees the kingdom, your healers walk with you. And as time passes in this kingdom, you begin to notice changes. The grass grows greener again. Animals return in greater numbers. Your breath feels steadier. It's not about explosive energy, not about a grand triumph, more about a sustainable rhythm. And what if subtly you begin to walk differently, think differently, feel differently? Not rushing, not collapsing, not the highs and the lows, but something more stable and steady. Let's call it calibrated. Like a lion who knows when to rest in the shade and when to move with precision. But imagine something extraordinary happens in this story. The wise elder leads you to the very peak of the great rock. And from its peak, you don't just see the space and the horizons of your kingdom. You can see the past, the present, and the future. And in the distance, you see yourself in the future. Strong, energized, balanced. Not the old version, not that struggling version. A wiser one. As you conclude that this future self has already found the solution. And you don't need to know if it was medical, neurological, emotional, or simply time and adaptation. You just know that it exists there in your future. And imagine the elder says to you, time is a river, and you are allowed to draw water from downstream. So travel downstream to the future self and place their hand upon your chest and feel what it would feel for something to transfer. Future intelligence, beliefs, strategies, perhaps even technology, transfers from the future to you in the present. Not magic, but information, a pattern, perhaps a cellular memory of recovery. Absorb it in, breathe it in. Feel that future change entering your nervous system now. And the more you accept this invitation, the more powerful it becomes. And your unconscious wants to calibrate and recalibrate, does it not? So feel subtle changes in your muscles, your blood, your mind, as if your body begins rehearsing that future state now. And I want you to see that future version of you is proud of what you're going through and proud of who you're becoming. Because as you descend from the rock, you connect to something. At no point did you surrender your hope. At no point did you stop seeking help. At no point did you abandon yourself. You were more tenacious than you ever realized, more faithful, more resilient. This recognition changes something fundamental. The goal was never to be back as you were before. It was to come out the other side, enhanced in some way. So feel your respect for yourself deepening, amplifying. And just imagine finding one of those large acacia trees that give shade even in the savannah. And you reflect. This challenge was unwanted, unfair, undesired, painful. But you start to see gifts hidden in its shadow. Greater patience, maybe deeper empathy, a new level of self-awareness, a greater respect for rest and downtime, or maybe gratitude for vitality. And as you think about the kingdom, you realize that sometimes storms damage the land, but also renew the soil. And of course, you would not have chosen the storm, but you can honor and appreciate what it revealed. Imagine that team of healers gathering around you once more. Not to celebrate dramatically, they just nod. A sense that this spell is lifting in quiet, consistent recalibration. And just like the quicksand, you now know that if you ever do find yourself feeling stuck because you've escaped before, escaping again feels doable, manageable, something that you can escape from quickly. Even when your first experience made it feel paralyzing and scary. Connect with that future and present awareness balance, the ability to harness help when needed, and start to feel your horizons opening up. You've already seen downstream, but imagine the not too distant future now. Imagine waking up with energy that feels stable, mood that feels level, not euphoric and not depleted, balanced, where you're able to move through your kingdom with grounded authority, a renewed gratitude for health, with respect of limits, and trusting your body once more. And you may never know if the spell is fully lifted. You'll just know what it feels like. And one day, things will feel indistinguishable from life without the spell. And that will be a good day. One good day will lead to many more good days. until one day that spell will feel like a memory, unwanted, but still gave you something powerful. A new level of perspective and patience that maybe you always needed, and this just happened to be the way that it arrived. As you return from that fairy tale land, you return feeling that you are healing, you are recalibrating, and you have more resilience than you ever realized. And whatever unfolds, you will meet it with more wisdom than you did before. And just imagine that storyteller closes the book, the story finishes, but something feels like it shifted within you. Take a deep breath in through your eyes and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now, as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.